The Smugglers is fun insofar as it's, Doctor Who and the pirates, although one wishes it was the Doctor going up against space pirates, rather. What this serial did do for me is I realise now that Henry Every is in fact a real historical chap. And given that there's not much to say about this particular serial behind the scenes or in front of the camera because it's missing, there's nothing of very little of what was recorded is available. So in the tradition of reading out about historical information when Doctor Who Classic does a historical serial and I'm left at a loss of what to talk about, let's read about Henry Every, also known as Henry Avery. He's born circa 1656. He disappeared circa June 1696. Sometimes erroneously given as Jack Avery or John Avery, was an English pirate who operated in the Atlantic and Indian Oceans in the mid-1690s. He probably used several aliases throughout his career, including Benjamin Bridgman, and was known as Long Ben to his crewmen and associates. Dubbed the Arch-Pirate and the King of Pirates by contemporaries, Avery was infamous for being one of the very few major pirate captains to escape with his loot without being arrested or killed in battle, and for being the perpetrator of what has been called the most profitable act of piracy in history. Although Avery's career as a pirate lasted only 2 years, his exploits captured the public's imagination, inspired others to take up piracy, and spawned works of literature. Avery began his pirate career while he was first mate aboard the warship Charles II. As the ship lay anchored in the northern Spanish harbour of Corunna, the crew grew discontented as Spain failed to deliver a letter of marque, and Charles II's owners failed to pay their wages, and they mutinied. Charles II was renamed the Fancy, and Avery elected as the new captain. Avery's most famous raid on the 7th of September 1695 was on a 25-ship convoy of Grand Mughal vessels making the annual pilgrimage to Mecca, including the treasure-laden Ganja Dao Ganj-e-Sawai and its escort Fateh Muhammad. Joining forces of several pirate vessels, Avery found himself in command of a small pirate squadron. They were able to capture up to £600,000 in precious metals and jewels, equivalent to around £97.1 million in 2023. This caused considerable damage to England's fragile relations with the Mughals, and a combined bounty of £1,000, an immense sum at the time, was offered by the Privy Council and the East India Company for his capture, leading to the first worldwide manhunt in recorded history. Although a number of his crew were subsequently arrested, Avery himself eluded capture, vanishing from all records in 1696. His whereabouts and activities after this period are unknown. Unconfirmed accounts state he may have changed his name and retired, quietly living out the rest of his life in either Britain or on an unidentified tropical island, while alternative accounts consider Avery may have squandered his riches. He is considered to have died sometime between 1699 and 1714. His treasure has never been recovered. You might be interested in knowing what was the circumstances surrounding this era. Well, the Golden Age of Piracy is a common designation for the period between the 1650s and the 1730s, when maritime piracy was a significant factor in the histories of the North Atlantic and Indian Oceans. Histories of piracy often subdivide the Golden Age of Piracy into 3 periods. The buccaneering period, approximately 1650 to 1680, characterized by Anglo-French seamen based in Jamaica and Tortuga, attacking Spanish colonies and shipping in the Caribbean and Eastern Pacific. Then there's the Pirate Round, 1690s, associated with long-distance voyages from the Americas to rob Muslim and East India Company targets in the Indian Ocean and Red Sea. And then, thirdly, the post-Spanish succession period, 1715 to 1726, when Anglo-American sailors and privateers left unemployed by the end of the War of the Spanish Succession, turned en masse to piracy in the Caribbean, the Indian Ocean, the North American Eastern Seaboard, and the West African coast. Narrow definitions of the Golden Age sometimes exclude the first or second periods, but most include at least some portion of the third. The modern conception of pirates as depicted in popular culture is derived largely, though not always accurately, from the Golden Age of piracy. Factors contributed to piracy during the Golden Age included the rise in quantities of valuable cargoes being shipped to Europe over vast ocean areas, reduced European navies in certain regions, the training and experience that many sailors had gained in European navies, particularly the British Royal Navy, and corrupt and ineffective government in European overseas colonies. Colonial powers at the time constantly fought with pirates and engaged in several notable battles and other related events. Stories and histories from the Golden Age form the foundation of many modern depictions of pirates and piracy. A General History of the Pirate 1724 by Captain Charles Johnson is the prime source for the biographies of many well-known pirates of the Golden Age, providing an extensive account of the period. In giving an almost mythical status to the more colourful characters such as the notorious English pirates Blackbeard and Calico Jack, it is likely that the author used considerable license in his accounts of pirate conversations. In 2002, English naval historian David Cordingley wrote an introduction to Johnson's 1724 book stating, "It has been said, and there seems no reason to question this, that Captain Johnson created the modern conception of pirates. Johnson's book influenced the pirate literature of Robert Louis Stevenson and J.M. Barrie. Such literary works as Stevenson's Treasure Island and Barrie's Peter Pan, while romanticized, drew heavily on pirates and piracy for their plots. Various claims and speculation about their overall image, attire, fashion, dress code, etc. have been made and contributed to their fanciful mystery and lore. For example, men wore earrings as the value of the gold, or silver earring was meant to pay for their next burial if they were lost at sea, and their body washed ashore. They were also worn for superstitious reasons, believing that precious metals had magical healing powers. More recently, even less accurate depictions of historical era pirates, e.g. Talk Like a Pirate Day, have advanced to the forefront. However, these phenomena have only served to advance the romantic image of piracy and its treasure-bearing swashbucklers in popular culture. Perhaps this is downstream of Robert Newton's portrayal of Long John Silver in Byron Haskin's 1950 classic Treasure Island film adaptation. The Smugglers. I think we'll close it here. Thanks again, my friends.